they are intended to do. And we may have some more Supreme Court nominees coming forward in the next 4 years. We probably will. We want to make sure that there's a Republican in the White House and a Republican majority in the Senate so we can ensure that we have rule of law justices.
Absolutely. It's about the Constitution. It's about keeping America great and America and
Exactly.
our founding principles. Rana, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. Please keep it right here at our convention.
We want every American who is eligible to cast a ballot this November to be able to do so safely and securely. While Democrats are suing in state after state to strip away voter protection safeguards, the Republican Party is fighting back to protect your vote. If you aren't able to vote in person, you may be eligible to vote by absentee ballot. This is one of the most effective ways to ensure that your vote is securely cast and counted. If you are planning on voting absentee, it's important to return your ballot early. Another option is to vote early in person before Election Day. Go to vote.gop to learn more or request your absentee ballot. Feel confident your vote is counted. Go to vote.gop today.
Hi, I'm Joni Ernst. I was raised on a small Iowa family farm where I learned the importance of faith, hard work, and service. I worked my way through college, then dedicated my life to serving my country, first as a local official, then as a combat company commander, and now in the United States Senate. I continue to reside in the same rural county where I grew up in, and I'm the only combat veteran on the ballot for federal office in Iowa. As a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence, I continue to be a tireless advocate for our women and children and abuse survivors. I'm a champion for our farmers, for our veterans, and for our working families. But my fight continues for Iowa as President Trump and I push back against the millions and millions of dollars coming into the state from liberal extremists who wish to elect Teresa Greenfield to the United States Senate and fundamentally change who we are as a United States. I will always defend strengthening our military and our veterans, and I will never stop standing up for Iowa families, Iowa farms, and our very way of life.
Each and every one of you know how important the West is to our great nation, to the idea of America. The West, with its wide open terrain and vast expanses, are the heart and soul of this country. The West gives us our great sense of space and pioneering spirit. The West, where Catherine Lee Bates went to the top of Pikes Peak in Colorado Springs and wrote the words to America the Beautiful. That is the spirit of America. Today, that spirit is being put to the test. Just look at the policies their party now stands for. Socialized medicine, the Green New Deal, eliminating the Electoral College, dictating what job you can and can't have, packing the courts, massive tax increases, open borders, and the list goes on and on. It is socialism on full display. We cannot be silent while the far left bullies Americans into adopting an extremist agenda. The United States is a proud nation. We are a great nation, a nation of hope and ideas, a nation of dreamers and doers. It is this nation that has lifted more people up and out of poverty than any other country in our world's history. I'm optimistic because I believe we will reject socialism. We believe in America. We believe in the power of America. We believe that it is morning in America, and we will look up to that great Rocky Mountain horizon for the opportunities that this country has brought to every single one of us and can bring to every single man, woman, and child in this country for generations to come. And we need to believe in this great and prosperous nation. Because America, we're going to be bigger and stronger than ever. We're moving forward. And to the world, I have one simple message. When it comes to America, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Hi everyone, it's Kelly Loeffler. I'm so proud to be speaking with y'all today. The GOP nominating convention is underway and conservatives across Georgia are fired up. We're ready to nominate Donald J. Trump as our candidate for 4 more years. And truthfully, it's no wonder there's huge momentum on our side. Americans never tired of winning. President Trump built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, with record high employment, record high and rising wages, a record-breaking economic boom. And the success doesn't stop with the economy. President Trump has cracked down on illegal immigration. He strengthened our military, stood strong with our brave men and women of law enforcement. He supported our farmers and American agriculture and always stood up to defend our religious freedoms and our constitutional rights. Thanks to his putting America first, Americans from all walks of life have been lifted up to new heights of prosperity and success. And now President Trump is leading the great American comeback to continue our legacy of winning big. Mr. President, my home state of Georgia is behind you 100%, and we are going to win big. As a political outsider and business person just like you, I'm fighting with and for you every single day. Georgia's in your corner, and we look forward to another 4 years of making America great again.
For more than 20 years, America's business and political elites ignored China's cheating and theft, and our country has paid a terrible price. Joe Biden was a full member of that establishment consensus that once China became rich, that they'd start following the rules. When Joe Biden welcomed China into the World Trade Organization, he said they would not steal our manufacturing jobs or ever become an economic competitor. Joe Biden was wrong, and millions of American factories, businesses, and jobs were destroyed by China. Donald Trump is the first president to finally deal with all of this. Not just to punish China, but to bring back American manufacturing and American jobs. Joe Biden isn't strong enough to take on China, and Joe Biden has no plan to deal with China. If we go back to ignoring this threat, the damage it will do to our country may be irreversible. And that's why we must win in November. America needs 4 more years.
I will be the greatest jobs producer that God ever created.
The unemployment rate fell to 3.5%. That is still this very, very low 50-year level. A couple of generations of people have not seen this kind of an unemployment rate.
The unemployment for Hispanics hit an all-time record low.
Along with a surging stock market and a record low African-American unemployment rate.
Wage growth for folks at the bottom, the lowest income Americans, is double wage growth at the top.
Hi, I'm Paris Denard, Senior Communication Advisor for Black Media Affairs here at the RNC.
And I am Jali Nunez, Director of Hispanic Media for the RNC.
We're going to talk for a few moments today about what President Trump is doing to positively impact both the Black and Hispanic communities. A lot of times in the media, we don't hear about what this president has done and will do to positively impact these two communities. And so I'm so pleased to be here with my colleague to share and to talk about a lot of these things that the President and Vice President Pence have done over the past 4 years. Yali, the media is focused on the Democrats and their policies, but not a lot of people understand that socialism is a very bad thing. And when we look at examples of socialism around the world, we can see that it has had a really negative and destructive impact on these situations. What are some of the things that the president is doing to combat against socialism and the policies of what socialism represents in both Hispanic and Black communities?
Well, look, Paris, I was born and raised in Cuba, so I've lived socialism. And what's sad is many of these Democrats, they have no idea what socialism is about, and they continue to propose all these policies that would literally destroy our nation and everything that we stand for and believe in. And when you see this extremist policies that they're coming out with, it's completely, it's a nonsense, and it's very dangerous too. So when you see President Trump from the beginning standing against socialism, putting sanctions against regimes such as the Cuban regime, the
Right.
Venezuela regime, the Nicaragua regime, we realize as a community, the Hispanic community, that he stands with us because he understands the pain that we suffer in those places or in our countries.
Right.
And that's why we came to America, to experience a different system that can offer us democracy and hope.
So in addition to socialism, there's some radical ideas that are coming from the left that President Trump has been so strong on, like border security and I would just say security in general. What are some things that you've seen and that are resonating with the Hispanic community in terms of law enforcement and securing the homeland?
I think border security is national security. We want to live in a country that we feel good, that we feel free, that we can go around without the fear of encountering crime. And I think when the president talks about the wall, when the president talks about protecting the border, he's talking about protecting our Hispanic families. And I'm sure the Black community probably feels similarly.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. When you look at the impact of illegal immigration on the Black community, we know that illegal immigration has a negative impact on communities of color because it takes away resources that would most normally go to underserved communities, and it takes away jobs that would normally go to underserved communities. And so we know that the negative impact of illegal immigration hurts Black and brown communities the worst. And so from a Black perspective, it's always great to hear President Trump standing up against illegal immigration. But there's another thing that I know is really important to all communities, Yali, and that is the issue of human trafficking and the drugs that are coming across the border. What are some of the things that the president has done to really accelerate the building of the wall to prevent this scourge of human trafficking?
I mean, we see the initiative that the senior advisor Ivanka Trump has taken, and the very strong stand that she has taken when it comes to human trafficking. I mean, this is something that I can tell you that I've seen firsthand, and the dangers that people put themselves into when they experience that journey coming to the United States. I do not recommend that journey to anyone. It's a very dangerous one. And after going through that journey, coming here to live in the shadows of illegality is truly, it makes no sense in that regard. So for those, the president has always said that he supports immigration, but legal immigration.
That's
and
right.
Legal immigration is what has built this nation and has made it the nation that it is. So when it comes to the immigration issue and how the media sometimes is covering it, I think it's important to remind ourselves that legal immigration is good and that the Trump administration has always supported it, but we do not support illegal immigration.
That's so true. Another aspect of the security issue is the notion of defunding the police.
Oh, yes.
And we've seen all of the riots and the violence, the looting, and just the destruction of property. Can you talk about the impact that has had on Hispanic communities in terms of the rioting and the notion of defunding the police?
Let's say this. We own approximately 4.7 million Hispanic businesses in the United States. We give to the economy approximately $700 billion. Think of those businesses being looted and destroyed by this violent protest. That's not what America is about. That's not why people immigrate to this country. That is not what we stand for and what we need. So when you have Democrats saying that they want to defund the police, take away the funds from the institution that protects our communities, that keeps our children safe, that keeps our old people that sometimes are in their homes by themselves during the day safe, it's outrageous. I mean, and for us as a minority who have experienced, like, for example, the consequences of the crime bill that Biden supported.
Correct.
That is completely out of the question. We cannot support a movement like that.
Well, when you talk about the issue of criminal justice reform and keeping America and urban communities safe, that's what President Trump's legacy is It is someone who's strong on public safety, but strong on justice, criminal justice reform and the First Step Act, and how you're trying to right the wrongs of the 1994 crime bill that led to the mass incarceration of Black and brown people, hundreds of thousands of Black and brown people all over this country. You know, Joe Biden used to refer to people that look like me as predators. I mean, that's his legacy. And when you look at what President Trump is doing to keep America safe, you know, he is an entrepreneur himself. He's a businessman. And so when he saw and continues to see Black and brown small business owners, businesses and livelihood being destroyed in these Democrat-controlled cities, he wants to spring into action. He's actually trying to lead the nation and to heal the nation. But these Democrats on the local level are refusing the help of the federal government to come in and keep America safe. You should have a reasonable expectation, and you know this, if you're a mother or a single mom out there and you send your child outside to go play, or you walk your child to school, that they won't get shot, that they won't be lying in their bed like young Legend was.
Think of the shootings in school.
Absolutely.
How do we respond to a situation like that if the police is not around? And I think those are the things that Democrats have to think before they go on TV or stand on a podium and ask for defunding the police or defend those movements, outrageous movements that would want to reallocate the funds that the police has to other institutions. Those are the things that you have to think about, the protection of our children, of our elderly, and of our communities in general. And I think President Trump has done an extraordinary job in educating the people about this stuff, and also about signing executive orders that promote other things such as the education of our communities. He recently signed an executive order of Hispanic prosperity for specifically the education of Hispanic communities as well.
Well, you're right. And that issue of the economy and economic empowerment is one that's so important because it's a holistic approach to solving our problems that we have. You can't just look at one issue. We know that the economy plays a role in everything that we do, and President Trump has really led on economic empowerment, especially for minority communities. For the Black community, I'm so proud to see this president be a champion for small businesses, be a champion for lowering taxes and deregulation, because that plays a role. That's huge, because one of the fastest growing groups of small business owners are Black women. And so we want to have a policy and an administration that supports small business owners, that supports lower taxes, that supports putting America first and bringing jobs back to the community. This is some of the things that are important. Why are tax cuts and those things that the president has done not being reported, especially how they're positively impacting the Black and Hispanic communities?
Well, you see every day, it's truly unfair that the president is not getting the credit that he deserves when it comes to all the support that he has offered to our communities. You see every day, this 4.7 million businesses that I was mentioning before, they're all benefiting from the tax cuts that the president has offered. Under these circumstances, under the pandemic, they all benefited from the PPP that the president signed. So these are the important things that we have to move forward when it comes to our nation, to the future of our nation. We do not support policies that keep our communities as separated from the mainstream of the development of our society. It shouldn't be like that.
Well, Yali, it's not just looking at the tax cuts, which are great. There's something else that came about, which was opportunity zones, and there's opportunity zones in every state, every territory, including the District of Columbia, and that is going to have a positive impact on revitalizing and empowering local communities. But the other thing that I want to touch on, and I think is really important, is the economic impact of the president's trade policies. He recently has been he's
USMCA all the way.
He's a champion. He's a negotiator. He's about deals. And a great deal was the USMCA. Can you talk about the impact of USMCA?
I mean, for Mexico, it is a trilateral agreement and includes Canada, the United States, and Mexico. But for Mexico alone, it benefits their people. So you see that he cares about the Hispanic community and the Mexican Hispanic community. So when you talk about what provides for the U.S. as far as all the business over here, it gives them leverage. It gives them the opportunity to go into international markets. It brings a whole new level that NAFTA didn't bring before. You're talking about NAFTA just shipping away our jobs, our American jobs offshores. That is not what we need. We need to bring back our jobs to America. We need to produce and make America, and that in America, and that's how we're going to make our country great.
That one point that you made that I think is tremendous, and I don't think a lot of people focus enough on it, it is the fact the president in his leadership at USMCA expanded the market for small business owners to now play in a fair way globally. We should be thinking big.
Yeah.
This is America. American exceptionalism.
He always says, if you're going to think big.
Think big.
Yes.
And so if you have a store, if you have a product, don't just think about selling in the U.S. There's a global marketplace that is out there. And the president is about making deals that support America and put America first. And he said in his inauguration address that he wasn't going to forget the forgotten people of this country, and that's what he's not going to do, is forget the forgotten people.
And he hasn't. Every policy that we're seeing out there for from this administration supports those forgotten men and women, supports the middle class of this country, supports the Hispanics, supports the Black community, the Asian community. Before this pandemic, Paris, we saw record unemployment numbers as far as, like, you know,
the lows.
Yeah. And we have to understand that is what these communities need. Hispanics are going to be the new majority when it comes when it comes to voting. And that is why I am so adamant and so passionate about talking to my community about the progress that we have made under this administration. We need to support this president this November 3rd.
You're so right about that, Yale. And one other issue that I think is really important for both of our communities and all communities is education.
Oh, yes.
Education is sort of,
one of my passions.
It weaves it all together. You have to have a strong education that helps the economy, and you want to have a safe community so that you can do that. But the educational system is sort of like the building block. It's the foundation. And thankfully, we have a president, and President Trump, and this Trump administration, who has been a champion for educational opportunity, a champion for school choice, a champion for giving parents choices in education, which is in stark contrast to Joe Biden, who said that he would, day one, get rid of charter schools. He's against school choice. And he said that there would be an NEA member, which is the radical leftist union for educators, in the White House. How important is school choice and this issue in the Hispanic community? I know you're from Florida, and I know it's a really big issue there as well.
A lot of charter schools. I mean, this is the thing. We support school choice in a huge way, And I think this is not just for the Hispanic community, but for the Black community, for the minorities. Our children should not be limited to a zip code to go to school, to the school of their choice, to the school that they think that is going to offer the best opportunities for them in this great nation. That's why their parents brought them here, to offer them that freedom, to offer them a series or different opportunities that they can choose from. And that's why it's called school choice, because it gives them the opportunity to the parents and the student. It makes them a priority, and it gives them the opportunity to choose what they believe will serve them best for the future.
You're right. President Trump and the Republican Party are about opportunities, and opportunities for parents, opportunity for family, and opportunity for children. When you look at another opportunity, an educational issue, that's support for historically Black colleges and universities and HSIs. I mean, this president has been a true champion for minority-serving institutions from the beginning. We saw him be a tremendous supporter and increase funding for these schools.
$250 million.
That is nothing to be shy about.
Yes,
that
annually.
Is significant. And when you look at the permanent mandatory funding that he signed into law, this president cares, and this president is acting with leadership, and he's doing things in a proactive way that are benefiting communities of color, and the media is not giving him the credit, but he doesn't care. He still does it anyway because he knows it's the right thing to do, and it not only benefits the minority communities, it benefits the entire community. One thing I want to just talk about is your role here at the RNC and some of the things that we both do. A lot of people don't realize that under the leadership of Ronna McDaniel, our chairwoman, we have had a very robust and aggressive and strategic effort to do engagement with minority communities. Talk about some of the things that you've done in your role here at the RNC.
Oh, that excites me the most because, you know, I'm so grateful to serve under our chairwoman. I've traveled with her before, and I can see the genuine reaction that she has every single time that she meets someone at an event or at a community get together. She sat down in round tables, and I've seen her participate and absorb the experience that people are trying to convey to her as far as like what's happening in the community.
Right.
You know, she listens, and then she takes all that knowledge and she applies it correctly, and that's how we've seen our grassroots effort grow the way it has, because of her knowledge. Every single time she travels a lot, a lot. So every single time that she goes to these communities and that she hears what people's concerns are and what they want out of this administration, she takes that knowledge, she shares that with the right people, and that's how the RNC has grown into what it has grown. And she has to give us the secret for her fundraising records, because it's just out of this world.
It is out of this world. And the thing I love about our chairwoman the most is the fact that she understands. I mean, she was the former chair of the Michigan party that led unprecedented effort to have President Trump win the state of Michigan. I think he'll do it again. But when you look at her commitment to engagement, she wants everybody to be voting. She wants to be reaching out to everyone. And so what we have the great pleasure of doing is taking the Republican message, taking President Trump's message to diverse communities where they read it, whether it's radio or television or even newspapers. We're there. We're engaging with these publications and these outlets because it's important to get the word out and get the message to them. And we're also registering voters. The Republican National Committee has registered more in 2020 than we did in the whole 2016 cycle. I mean, we're on the ground. We have engagement centers. We have these community centers for the Black Voices for Trump.
Oh, the efforts this year are like second to none.
Yeah,
it's
real. They're real efforts.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And if you go into the states, it's important to recognize the people that work at a local level in places like Florida, like Nevada, like in every single state, we've seen the effort of our team, of our local team. And obviously from here at the HQ, we work every single day. We do interviews, we take the message out there. And the hardest working person in this building is our chairwoman. She goes into every single interview with the right answers. We've seen all the traveling that we were talking about that she's done across the country, all the meetings that she's been, and every single effort is to re-elect President Trump because we believe, she believes, and we believe in the policies that this president has for this nation that are so important for communities like ours, Paris.
I was so impressed to see that the RNC has been so serious about the engagement effort, the campaign as well. And you've seen the chairwoman write op-eds that have gone to Hispanic publications and Black-owned newspapers. And we did an event with the Black Economic Alliance. She just said, yes, let's do it, a live stream. She is all in for engagement because it's serious. And Yali, you know that as much as I do,
we do it all bilingual. We do it all bilingual.
Bilingual as well. Yes. This is fantastic because we're taking the party in different languages because we want to reach people where they are. This party, under this president, President Trump, we have a winning message because he has been a champion for minority communities. He has put policies, not just rhetoric, but policies in place that have benefited us. And I just am excited to be here. I'm excited about the election. I'm excited about having you as a colleague and to see what we're going to be able to do from now until the election. And so I encourage all of you, if you want to learn more about what we're doing, go to the GOP website, GOP.com. I know, Yali, you have a Twitter account for
Yali Nunez.
Yali, as well as the Latino for RNC.
The RNC Latinos. That's a Twitter account that we've developed, and every single message that we have in our GOP Twitter account, we also have in Spanish and English in RNC Latinos. And I think it's so important to reach out to our community in both languages, or we even have for the Asian Pacific as well. We send it in different languages. I mean, the RNC's efforts are second to none. We are in this to win it, and we will do it in November 3rd.
We are in it to win it, and we're going to win in November 3rd because we have the president and who has the leadership, the record, and the passion to make this country great. We are on the great American comeback, and we can do that with President Trump. So, Yali, thank you for your time. It's great talking to you.
Of course. Thank you so much, and the same, Paris.
Hello from Western Colorado. I'm Lauren Boebert, a proud Republican. I'm a mom to 4 young men who I refuse to send into a socialist country. I'm running to represent the farmers, ranchers, steelworkers, and all of the proud Americans in Colorado's 3rd Congressional District who understand we are in a battle for the heart and soul of our country. This is a battle you and I must win. Last fall, I put my Glock on my hip and I told Beto O'Rourke, hell no, he isn't taking our guns. I learned right then, I'm not just a business owner or a mom or a gun owner. I'm a proud American with a strong voice and a strong fight in me that can help take our country back. My name is Lauren Boebert. With your help, I'm going to Washington to fight for our freedom, fight for our prosperity, and put all those left-wing lunatics back where they belong. Join me at laurenforcolorado.com. God bless each and every one of you.
When I was 15, I was severely burned in a kitchen fire. During my hospitalization, my caretakers inspired me to become a doctor. In a family with 8 kids, my parents didn't have the means to send me to college, so I decided to set out on my own. I left home at 16, got a job, enrolled in community college, and worked my way through school. At 18, I enlisted in the United States Army and served a total of 24 years, retiring as a lieutenant colonel. I became a nurse and eventually graduated from medical school and became a physician. After I served as president of the Iowa Medical Society, Governor Branstad asked me to lead the Iowa Department of Public Health, and now I'm a state senator. You see, I never gave up on my American dream. I never quit believing that tomorrow can be better than yesterday. As a doctor, military veteran, public health official, and a mother, I stand ready to go to work for you. I will never quit fighting for Iowa, and I will never quit fighting for you. Join us in this campaign, and we will reopen America and return to greatness together.
The 2020 election is about courage. My name is Jeanne Ives. I'm a West Point graduate, a mother of 5, a U.S. Army veteran, a former state representative, and now a candidate for Congress in the Illinois 6th Congressional District. This year, we were thrown into crisis. We have a choice to make. We can elect leaders who are hiding like Biden, who pretend that avoiding difficult situations and canceling everything they disagree with is progress. Or we can elect those with courage to stand on the front lines, offer solutions, and take the heat that comes with it. In 2020, we have seen the Democrats' worldview play out: grow government power and put Americans on public aid rather than opening up opportunities, tear down statues to appease rioters, board up businesses to prevent looting, defund the police, and, of course, refuse to debate so they don't have to defend any of it. This battle either ends in our total submission to an extreme ideology or in a bold display of courage and confidence in the goodness of American values. We do not have to agree on everything, but there can be no disagreement about who is promoting radical ideology, corruption, and instability in 2020. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Democrats in my home state of Illinois, like Sean Casten, Lori Lightfoot, and Kim Foxx, are synonymous with chaos. They have destroyed a world-class city and expect that you, across the nation, bail them out. I have always stood on the front lines against the far left in Illinois and stood up for those that I represent. In 2020, I am asking you to join me. Be courageous. Our future depends on it.
Hello, I'm Michelle Fischbach, and I'm running for Congress in Minnesota's 7th District. I am proud to have President Trump's complete and total endorsement. The 7th District is Trump country. The president won by 30 points in 2016, and we know he is going to win again. But this district is the most Trump district in the country that is represented by a Pelosi voting Democrat in Congress. A Democrat who has spent 30 years pretending to be a conservative, but is really a top supporter of Nancy Pelosi and her radical left-wing agenda. Minnesota's 7th District is huge. It's bigger than West Virginia, South Carolina, or Maine, with over 50,000 miles of roads from Canada almost all the way down to Iowa. That's enough to go around the world twice. I spent a lot of time on these roads meeting people who support President Trump and love our country. The most important road is the one that Minnesota's 7th District is on. The road to take back Congress, the road to fire Nancy Pelosi and her cronies, the road to give President Trump a Congress that will work with him to keep America great. Please join me on this road by going to fischbachforcongress.com.
This is Congresswoman Virginia Foxx from the 5th District of North Carolina. I hope you're safe and healthy. I wish we could be together for this convention, but we can't because of conditions beyond our control. But I commend the RNC for putting together the convention virtually. This is the most important election of our lifetime. It is so critical that we re-elect President Trump and Vice President Pence. They have done a wonderful job in their 3.5 years in office, and we need to continue their ability to make this country great again. But we must elect all Republicans who are running at the state and local levels. Please work harder than you've ever worked before to elect our governor, our senator, our legislators, our judges. We depend on all of you to do what is necessary to do. May God bless you, and may he continue to bless our great country. Thank you.
I'm Chele Farley, candidate for Congress in New York's 18th District. I'm an engineer. I know how to fix things. But ever since the Democrats took back the House, they're focused on obstruction and destruction. It's easy to tear things apart. It's a lot harder to rebuild them. Meeting the challenges of COVID is going to take hard work, cooperation. I'm a businesswoman. I know how to negotiate deals in the boardroom. I will work with President Trump to rebuild our economy and bring our country back. Join me at chelefarley.com.
Hi, I'm Christina Hagen, the Republican nominee in Ohio's 13th Congressional District. I am proud to be the daughter, sister, and wife to the trades. I grew up in the apartment above our family's small heating and plumbing business, going on service calls my entire life. I worked 3 jobs to put myself through college, and in my capstone semester, I became the youngest woman to serve in the history of the Ohio House of Representatives. And I am immensely proud to be endorsed and supported and fully backed by President Donald J. Trump. As a working class mother of 3, I am so proud to help fight and combat the things that are compromising and hurting our country. And I'm proud to stand beside a working class champion like President Trump and to fight alongside him to ensure that my children have a bright future in this country. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the RNC.
I'm Nicole Malliotakis, and I'm running for Congress in Staten Island and Southern Brooklyn, New York. And as President Trump said, this is Trump country. I'm running because New York City needs a strong Republican voice in Congress, and because Congress needs a strong Republican voice from New York City. Sadly, New York has been at the front lines of the radical pro-crime agenda. We've seen the effect of ending bail and letting dangerous criminals out of jail. I'm standing with President Trump and the New York Police Department to take back our neighborhoods from the criminals and the liberal Democrats who are empowering them. As the daughter of a Greek immigrant and a Cuban refugee who fled the Castro regime, I grew up learning about the horrors of socialism and the greatness of America. My parents instilled in me the conservative values of hard work, personal responsibility, and public service, lessons I used to help our community rebuild after Hurricane Sandy devastated my district. I'm Nicole Malliotakis, and I can't wait to work with President Trump to restore law and order to our cities, rebuild our nation's economy, and preserve the American dream for future generations.
You ask anybody in there whether or not the economic and foreign policy of this administration has made them better off in the last 8 years. And in addition to that, we have to make sure that we are in a position that we can insure every single solitary kid. We can provide catastrophic health insurance right off the bat. We can do that for the cost of just one thing. The tax cut for people in the top 1%. And with I don't know. You got to give them to the people who are going to spend the money. You got to deal with making sure American companies can be competitive, have a health care plan that doesn't put them at a disadvantage when they compete overseas. There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it
As a mother of 4 in a world where our constitutional rights are constantly under attack, I will continue to support President Donald J. Trump, who has proven to us that he cares about the American people, that he will ensure the safety of our children, and will ensure that they have their constitutional God-given rights. In 2020, I ask you to go to the polls and vote for President Donald Trump.
I support Donald Trump because he's for the American people. He stands against the corruption that has been going on for far too long in our government. He stands up for my constitutional rights and the rights of the unborn who do not have a voice. I feel in America we are one election away from experiencing communism, and the only person standing in the way of that is Donald Trump. I choose freedom. I choose Donald Trump.
My husband and I live in Greenville, and I support President Trump for re-election. I feel safe with President Trump in the White House, safe not only for myself, but for my children and my grandchildren. President Trump shares the same values that I have for America.
It's been an honor to watch President Trump serve for the last 4 years. He's done an amazing array of things for the American people. As a mother, I am especially pleased that he signed an executive order protecting free speech on college campuses, and that he worked so hard to keep our nation free and prosperous. I can't wait to see what President Trump does when he wins in November.
I am seeing that similar energy in the states that we're in across the country. So I feel very good about where we are heading into November.
Today, people gathered to celebrate the opening of a Trump Victory Field office in Rochester.
Harrisonburg and Rockingham GOP opened its doors for their fall campaign today.
This morning, the Trump field office opened in Manchester with volunteers welcoming back in-person campaigning.
I really have to give a shout out to our chairwoman, to the president, to the delegates, and all the state parties who have continually tried to figure out a way to make this happen.
When the COVID pandemic hit kind of its height in Minnesota, everyone was sheltered in place. We were reaching people via phone, via digital, via email. And now that things are opening up again, we're out back hitting people's doors, putting together events, bringing people together.
Team Trump has its eyes on November, out today laying the groundwork to register new Republican voters.
In Phoenix, Arizona, this group of Latinos for Trump are out knocking on doors.
Realmente él ha sido muy buen presidente.
He has been a great president, says Colombian immigrant Monica Yelling, who is committed to dedicating her time and energy to re-electing President Trump.
We have 1,500 staff on the ground. We've trained close to 1.5 million volunteers. So you're seeing stories about us outpacing Democrats on voter registration. You're seeing Democrats raising warning flags that Joe Biden has no ground game. The investment we made early in these states is paying off because we're already seeing that pay dividends with voter registration, turning out our vote, and organizing towards November for this all too critical election.
Currently have the largest ground game we've ever seen in New Mexico on the Republican side being executed as we speak.
I've knocked on over 500 doors now and talked to dozens of people.
The support is very strong on the ground. We know President Trump has unified the Republican Party like we've never seen.
Supporters of President Trump cheering as this bus carrying several recognizable Trump surrogates pulls in.
Iowa Republicans held their own event over the weekend in Waukee. They say President Trump is the person they need in the White House for 4 more years.
You could hear cheers and screams and people honking horns, just excited to have 45 in town.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're just very thankful that he's here in the Permian Basin.
From now until November, the president, the RNC, and the campaign will continue to contrast the clear record of achievement that he has and the lack of achievement that Joe Biden has.
You know, the president always says the best is yet to come, and we're going to lay that out as to what 4 more years will be of President Trump. And the best is yet to come for every American in their lives. And that is what the president's focused on, that everyday average American, and how can he make their lives better.